Hey guys, this is Miss Lily. We're going to talk about some parent functions and transformations today. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly. As you can see, I've got the notes already on the screen, and I have uploaded the notes for you onto Canvas so that you can reference to these. But you're going to have a project to do, and I just wanted to give you some information before you start looking at your project. So let's get started. All right, first, parent functions. Parent function, if you remember in your definition, is the most basic function in a family of functions. So the most basic function. We're going to start with linear. Linear means something to the first power. So you can see here y equals x to the first power. This is a linear function. It means it has a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 0. So it goes through the origin with a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 0. This is your parent function, okay? Your domain goes in both directions forever, so all reals. It goes up and down forever, so all reals. Remember, your domain is your x's, your range is your y's. Your x-intercept, where does it cross the x-axis? It crosses at 0, 0. Where does it cross the y-axis? At 0, 0. Okay? Don't worry about extrema. We're not even going to worry about those right now. Increasing and decreasing. Okay, this is something that you need to know as well. When you read from left to right. When we're talking about intervals, we also talk about from left to right. So if you look at the graph from left to right and you kind of trace that line, it's going up. If it's going up, it's increasing. If it's going down from left to right, it's decreasing. And if it is flat, then it would be constant or no change. Okay, so this one has increasing for all real numbers. The whole line is increasing. It's not decreasing at all. And the end behavior you've looked at, you can say, what does x do? Or what does y do as x goes to the right? And what does y do as x goes to the left? So we're always going to see our x's as positive and negative infinity. So positive x means going to the right. Negative x means going to the left. So if we look at our function here, as x goes to the right, our y value increases. So it goes towards infinity. Okay? So if we look at our graph, as x goes to the left, what does y do? Y goes down, so it's decreasing. So it's going towards negative infinity. Okay? All right, it has no holes, gaps, or jumps, so it is continuous. So it has no discontinuities. Okay? Even or odd is to the first power, so it is odd. All right, absolute value. Okay? Y equals absolute value. Anytime you see the absolute value, you should think a V-shaped graph. Okay? Again, the domain goes left and right forever, so it's all real numbers. The range is everything above the origin, so it's y's greater than or equal to 0. Okay? X and y intercepts are the same. Okay? It has an absolute minimum, so it has a minimum value at 0, 0. And then where does it increase or decrease? All right, so if I read my graph from left to right, it's decreasing from negative infinity until 0. So if I come over here, decreasing, negative infinity to 0. And then at 0, it turns and starts increasing. So from 0 to positive infinity, it's increasing. So you're just going to write it in parentheses, kind of like your domain and range. It's just the interval of x's. It's always talking about your x's. So from negative infinity to 0, and from 0 to infinity. So we're talking about the x-axis when we're talking about increasing and decreasing. In behavior, okay, as x goes positive, y goes positive. So that's why these are both positive infinity. What does x do to the left? Okay, as x goes to the left, y goes up as well. So that's why this is infinity as well. Don't even worry about the discontinuities and the even or odd for now. Just kind of skip over those. All right, quadratic should be anything to the x squared. Anything to the second power is a quadratic, okay? This is your parent function because it has a coefficient of 1 and it's not moved vertically or horizontally. So your parent function goes through the origin, y equals x squared, okay? Domain all reals, y is everything greater than or equal to 0, just like the absolute value. Your x and y intercepts, again, are at 0, 0. So hopefully you're seeing a pattern here. Most of your parent functions will go through the origin, okay? All right, intervals of increasing and decreasing. So it's going to decrease from negative infinity to 0, and it's going to increase from 0 to infinity. Again, it has an absolute minimum at 0, 0. In behavior, as x goes positive, y goes positive. As x goes negative, y goes positive, okay? Parent functions are pretty easy to work with. All right, your cubic function, x cubed, because that's a 3, it's cubic, so it's to the third power. Every cubic function is going to look similar to this. It's going to have opposite in behavior. So your domain, it's going left or right forever, so all reals. It's going up or down, so your range is also all reals. X and Y intercepts, again, at 0, 0. Again, a lot of these go through the origin, okay? Where does it increase? If I trace it from left to right, I'm tracing the whole thing is going up, so it's increasing from negative infinity to positive, so that means it's not decreasing anywhere. All right, as x goes to positive infinity, y goes up, so positive infinity. As x goes to negative or left, negative infinity, y goes to negative infinity as well, okay? Remember, your f of x is just same thing as y. So what does y do as x does this? All right, square root or radical function, okay? Y equals the square root of x is your parent function, your most basic. Again, you can see it kind of starts at 0, 0. So your domain, this time it doesn't go to the left of 0 at all. So your domain is from 0 greater than or equal to 0, or from 0 to positive infinity. Your range also does not go in the negatives. It starts at 0 and goes up. So y's are also greater than or equal to 0. X and y intercept, no surprise, 0, 0. It's increasing from 0 to infinity. Since 0 is included on the graph, that's why there's a bracket here. 0 is included in the answer. So it increases from 0 to infinity, and it's not going to decrease anywhere. In behavior, as x goes positive, y goes positive. As x goes to 0, y goes to 0. So this one doesn't go towards negative infinity at all. This one just goes towards 0. All right, got a few more I'm going to look at here. You won't need all of these for your project, but it's good to know what the parent functions look like. Cube root is the inverse of x cubed, so it's turned sideways. X cubed goes up and down. Cube root goes more horizontal, okay? So domain goes left and right forever, so your x's, your domain is all reals. Range, it's gradually going up and it's gradually going down, so your range is all real numbers as well. X and y intercept, 0, 0. It is increasing the whole distance as you travel from left to right on the graph. So it's negative to positive infinity, which means it's not decreasing anywhere. As x goes positive, y goes up, so positive. As x goes left or negative, y goes down, so it'd be negative infinity. Okay, so again, I'm going through these very quickly. You're going to have this that you can print out. I just kind of want to give you an overview of what these look like. It's very important to know the basic shape of these functions, because as you go through this class, knowing the basic shapes of different functions is very helpful. All right, your parent function, this is a reciprocal function. All right, so we get these from anything where it has a variable in the denominator. Okay, again, this is your parent function, so this is your most basic function. You can see this is the first one that's not going to travel through the origin. It's actually two different pieces because x is on the bottom and you're not allowed to divide by 0. If you divide by 0, it'd be undefined. So that's why it kind of approaches this line. and it doesn't actually touch that line. So your domain is all real numbers except 0. That's why it says x not equal to 0. And your range is all real numbers except 0 as well. There is no x or y intercept. It doesn't cross. It approaches the x-intercept and the y-intercept, but it doesn't cross it, so there's no intercepts. Increasing. If you go from left to right, going down, if you go from left to right, you always trace from left to right. None of it is increasing. Decreasing. It decreases from negative infinity to 0. It's approaching 0. And then it's going to go from 0 to positive infinity. So decreasing, it has 2 intervals. It looks like it's all real numbers, but actually 0 is not included. So that's the only thing where it's not included there. In behavior, as x approaches infinity, what does y do? So here's our graph. It approaches this number here, which is 0. And as you go to the left, as x goes to negative infinity, this also approaches the origin here, which is 0. Okay? All right, exponential function. This is an important function to know as well. Every exponential function has the variable x as an exponent. Okay? So most of the time the variable is in the equation, but this time it's the exponent. Okay, so x squared is quadratic. 2 to the x is exponential. All right, exponential growth is going to grow very quickly. If it were a number less than 1, between 0 and 1, then it would be decay, and it would actually go down. Okay, but this is the parent positive exponential function. Your domain, it goes from left and right, both directions forever, so all reals, and your range, it gets very close to 0, but it's everything greater than 0 because it's not going to cross or touch 0. Your x, it doesn't cross the x, so there's no x-intercept. Y, it crosses at 1, so 0, 1 is your y-intercept. It's going to increase on the whole interval, and it has nowhere where it decreases. In behavior, as it goes to the right, it goes to positive infinity. As it goes to the left, it's approaching 0. Okay. All right, we're going to look at one more, and then we're going to stop here. All right, a logarithmic function. Okay, logarithmic is the inverse of an exponential. The graph, if you look at them, are kind of opposites. They reflect across the y equal x. Okay, your domain is everything greater than 0. If you look, there's nothing on this side of the y-axis that's part of the graph. So everything stays on this side. So x greater than 0. Your range goes down and up forever. Even though it's going up gradually, it's still going to go up. So your range is all real numbers. Your x-intercept this time is 0 or 1, 0. Kind of like the exponential was 0, 1. This one is 1, 0 because it's a reflection of that. And your y-intercept is none. It doesn't cross the y-axis. It's going to increase from 0 to infinity, decreases nowhere. Your in behavior, as it goes to the right, it's going up. Your y's and your x's are going up. As you go towards 0, it's going towards negative infinity. Okay? All right, you do not need to know the greatest integer. And you do need to know the sine and cosine, but not at this time. So don't worry about that now. Okay? All right. I know I went fast. You can stop and rewind if you need to. You can also watch it however many times you need to. You can refer back to this as you get ready to work on your project. Good luck.